we got taglines disguised as something else.
Disguised as something else?
Yeah.
Oh, because that's the whole point of this movie.
Thank you for explaining that joke, Mr.
Well, I
Exposition.
didn't, because I didn't realize. Well, no, you know who's the master of exposition? Shelley Long in this film.
I love Shelley Long, though.
Oh, in this? Oh,
Yeah.
no. Like, this might be my favorite thing that she's ever done. Huh?
She's great. She's amazing. She's
yeah.
just a character. She's a character. See, I told you, a character.
Mm. No, like, in this film, she does way better, like, of being this character that is enjoyable and fun to watch, while the other two mains, I'm like, ugh, you've done way better, both of you.
But this film also made me really want to just go back and watch Beverly Hills Cop.
Right?
You just went with it.
Huh? Because I thought you meant True Beverly Hills.
I did mean True Beverly Hills, but I was like, I'm going to see if he catches this.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
You've gotten it wrong earlier today.
I know,
on
and that's
purpose,
why I
though.
went with it.
Okay.
I was like, all right.
Just making sure. Yeah, she's killing it in this, and I absolutely loved her.
Oh, my God.
So we have two taglines today.
One is a giant.
Okay. Ready? A romantic comedy about true love under false pretenses.
It's more just kind of like
you mean false
deception.
That it's good?
Yeah.
Yeah. A romantic comedy about true love
deception
under the deception that it's a good movie.
Yeah.
And then number two, which is funny because they're numbers. So like Gus number 1 didn't have a ghost of a chance until he became Gus number 2. With his new looks, the girl of his dreams is about to find out that looks are only skin deep when she falls in love with Gus number 1 and Gus number 2.
She only falls for him because of his looks.
Yeah, which is... Wait. No, I mean, also the totem. But no, the tagline itself is wrong.
Yeah.
Because she's not falling in love with Gus number 1 or Gus number 2. She's falling in love with Lobo. Lobo Vegas. Like, it's Lobo.
Lobo Moran.
She's falling in love with a different person. Not... I don't even know what... This isn't a tagline, by the way. This is a synopsis of the film.
It really is.
That's wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, with a gross of $1.1 million, but I cannot find how much they spent on this movie, other than that Guttenberg got $1 million himself. Yeah. So we know at least $1 million was spent.
Minimum.
Yeah. But it had a gross of $1.1 million, with one man-ass, one Hodgkin's disease makeup, 3 terrifying speeches of death to a child, 1 workout montage, 1 horrible New Zealand accent, 1 mullet, and 1 sex-changing sex doll, with a 5.9 on IMDb, and no score on Rotten Tomatoes, but a 60% audience score. Its 1990s, extremely confusing title, is it one or is it the other? Depends on if you saw it in the theater or got it on DVD. It's Don't Tell Her It's Me or The Boyfriend School. Let's drop some bombs.
Thanks, Rusty. Say hi to Judgito.
We are so cute and cuddly. Don't discriminate against us.
I don't know your name.
Lobo. Lobo Marunga.
Lobo? Truly? Outrageous.
I hope you're not a sore loser.
It depends on how hard he spanked me.
Sarah, be my bloody Valentine.
Welcome to Bombs Away, the only podcast recorded inside a projection booth. My name is Jonathan Young. Joining me in the studio, as always, is...
I'm sexually confused by the straight George Michael Steve Guttenberg, Jarrett Seifert.
Yes!
I'm actually not sexually confused by it. I'm very sexually confident that I'm into his George Michael cosplay.
George Michael New Zealand Kiwi cosplay.
It's George Michael's brother, Jorge Michael.
Lobo Morenga.
Lobo Morenga.
Okay.
It's his cousin.
All right, so for those of you going like, I don't know what that accent is, guess what? Neither did Steve Guttenberg, because it's pretty close, right?
I don't know how he forgot that he was supposed to be doing an accent.
He
for
forgets
of the movie.
mid conversation with her at times, and she doesn't catch. There are a million things that Emily, the main girl, doesn't catch.
She's a
that
real
are
dumb one.
in her face for being an investigative journalist. She is the worst.
I would not call her a journalist.
Don't you have anything with a little whiskey in it?
Yeah.
That real
whiskey.
And she goes, with what? And he's like, whiskey, in his normal American accent. So
God.
This movie immediately pits the reality of the fact of, is Steve Guttenberg attractive?
In this movie, when he's shirtless in those tiny shorts with a half, he full on has half of a boner going on in the scene where he's in tiny shorts. And that is not a lie. I stared at that screen and I was like, that is his penis almost about to poke out.
Okay.
He was half-mast and I loved it. And he's ripped, got a nice stubble on his chest. He was living a George Michael fantasy and I was so into it. And I won't lie, I knew of George Michael, but I didn't know he was gay, which is pretty bad. I should have my gay card revoked. But
right?
I didn't know he was gay for the longest time. And then I was like, oh shit, that's why he's so hot. I love it. I love that stupid George Michael one earring hanging down, doesn't care, but obviously cares too much. God, he's Steve Guttenberg in this film when he's all ripped and buff. He's so sexy.
Never gonna
so
dance
good.
again.
Oh, God. And then I was like, why? This is when he had his cancer makeup on. But I was like, why does he sound like that guy from It Takes Two? And then I was like, because he's that guy from It Takes Two with Kirstie Alley and the Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen.
So wait, you had forgotten who Steve Guttenberg was?
I didn't recognize him.
Okay.
Because in his, I should know what cancer this is.
It's Hodgkinson's.
Hodgkinson's.
Yes.
Hodgkinson's lymphoma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which I know people that have. So it actually does that. It's scary. It's not good.
Oh, okay. The way you're like, I know people.
I was like, oh, it's bad.
Oh, wow,
no, it's not
dropping
great.
names.
Yeah. No, I don't want to my friend.
Yeah,
but, yeah,
no, I understand.
But
No.
at first, also, okay, so we'll get into it real quick.
Yeah.
The movie starts off with cartoon animation of the saddest character you've ever seen.
Right.
And I didn't know that he had cancer. I thought it was just he was.
It was like
being
a Ziggy
tested.
cartoon.
Yeah, I thought he was just they were like, what experiments can we do on this person? But also there was definitely a suicide attempt in the middle of it.
There's multiple suicide attempts
like,
in the
whoa,
animation for the title
whoa.
sequence. Right?
So sad.
Yeah, there is an animation where he's going to
He's about
hang
to hang himself. Yeah.
And somebody walks in on him and he falls yeah. This weird, you're like, okay, whoever drew this is at the end of their rope, literally. Yeah. But okay. Yeah, you want to dive in?
Yeah.
All right. So the movie itself needs to make up its mind on its title.
Yeah.
Okay, so what the history of this is that it's based on a book, right? It's based on a book by Sarah Bird, right? Called
no, there's not a bird in here.
No.
Sarah Bird in here?
Yeah. It's Sarah Bird.
Is Sarah Bird in here? No. No, that's just the air conditioning.
So it's based. Stop. I gotta get through this. It's based on a book.
Sarah Bird in here?
Yeah, I know.
Sorry. Okay,
yeah.
go.
It's based on a book by Sarah Bird called The Boyfriend School.
Yeah.
Okay. And then she wrote a screenplay also called The Boyfriend School. Somewhere along the line, they were like, no.
It's a working title.
Yeah, it's a working title. Let's call it Don't Tell Her It's Me, right? And then the theme song, which plays over this animation we spoke about and also plays over the credits, is one of those 80s, 90s, let's write a song with the title of the movie in it.
Yeah.
Right? So they they doubled down and was like, oh, we're going to write this song called Don't Tell Her It's Me, because that's the title of it, and it's there. It plays out, right? But somewhere, once it got to, like, it did very poorly in the theater, and then once it got to VHS, and it was Don't Tell Her It's Me still. But then when MGM released it on DVD, and when they sent it to, like, further viewings on HBO, or I think Cinemax got it back in the 90s, they changed it to The Boyfriend School again, because The Boyfriend School novel was gaining more traction again. So they're like, oh, like, we'll just retitle it and people will watch it because of that now. And it's like, no, that actually still didn't happen. But the copies that we watched, whoever transferred this onto the internet, it has the theme song. Like, I don't think they were going to change the theme song, but it says The Boyfriend School on the title card in the title sequence.
I always just thought of it as The Boyfriend School.
Oh, yeah?
In the, like, 10 days that I've known of it.
I knew it as Don't Tell Her It's Me when I saw it as a child.
Okay.
So, and that was the original theatrical title. So that's what I will actually, people that are listening to this already have seen the title for this episode. I'm titling it both.
But also, like, Don't Tell Her It's Me. No one's trying to. No one's about to.
Yeah, nobody has
on
this
the brink
deep,
of, like,
hard secret in this movie. But,
so stupid.
But also, The Boyfriend School doesn't really apply either, because she's not teaching him how to be a boyfriend. She's teaching him how to manipulate other human beings.
It's like someone was like, this is a great name for, like, a book. And then they start writing it, and it has nothing to do with the name.
Yeah.
Don't title your story, your book, your article before you've written it, dummies.
Right, because The Boyfriend School seems like a take on Cyrano de Bergerac, like the title, right?
Sure. I'll pretend that I know that French or Italian person.
Oh my god. Okay, Cyrano de Bergerac is the...
I also thought it was de Bergerac.
You don't even know. Don't even try to.
It's de bourgeois.
It's based on the
classic trope.
No,
like the.
Well, kind of the classic. It's based on, like,
She's All That.
We have no more of what's that James Franco movie back in like early James Franco something
She's All That.
It's not She's All That. No, because
they pretty up the ugly person and then trick them into dating them. I thought that was that.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm talking about The Boyfriend School title, right? Would apply to this type of cliche plot, which is ugly guy likes handsome girl, right?
Handsome girl.
I mean, sorry. Ugly guy likes pretty girl, right? Like love interest. Can't get her. Then handsome guy who can't, like, talk to girls, asks ugly guy to either write him a poem or get him to say things in his ear so that he can win the girl over.
Whatever it takes.
Thank you. Whatever it takes is the Cyrano de Bergerac for the 2000s. Before that, in the 80s, it was a movie called Roxanne with Steve Martin.
Just so you
and
know,
Daryl Hannah.
The poster for Whatever It Takes looks like a gay porn.
It does?
It really does.
No, I've seen this. I've seen that movie.
It is.
With Shane.
We got to do this.
Yeah, it's actually not too bad, but it is
Shane West.
Shane West. It's a movie that's just like that
Sabrina
the Teenage Witch movie. Like who's her name? Clarissa. Like, she was in a movie in this same time frame that it was her and the guy who was the main guy in Entourage. Like, they're in a movie together. Like, it's in that same time period as She's All That and everything. Like, it feels the same. I don't know. Weinstein was doing a whole bunch of this kind of shitty Dimension films back then.
We all know about what he's done.
Yeah. So, but that's more in line with what the title would suggest. It's like, I'm going to teach you how to be a beautiful, like, there it is.
Beautiful man.
A great boyfriend for this girl that I'm in love with. But that's not this movie. It doesn't apply. This is more like, I don't know, how to trick and manipulate the people around you to do what you want.
Well, this one is more like the, God, not 10 Things I Hate About You. I said it like 5 seconds ago. This is more like the make the ugly girl pretty and make the guy fall in love with him. But it's a bit more of deception
because
in it.
she's all that. The plot was, let's make the ugly girl pretty so that she becomes basically like prom queen, right?
Yeah.
And then in that process, I was only supposed to be doing it for a bit, and I fell for you, right? That's not this either. This is, I'm trying to find something that really compares to it.
There is something like it. It's a very classic trope.
Yeah, it's basically, I'm going to pretend like I was the loser, and I'm going to pretend to be...
You know what it is?
What?
Master of Disguise.
He's stupid. Yeah, it's I'm the loser, and I'm like going to basically reinvent myself and come back to school as somebody else. And like, yeah, if we're talking about like a high school romance, I'm going to come back to school as somebody else, and now you're going to fall for me, and you do, and then I have to reveal who I really was the whole time. That's the gist of this. I just can't, if you're listening out there and have like had your like finger on the pulse for the past 15 minutes as we've tried to figure this out,
Finger
please,
us and let us know.
yeah, finger us on your little keyboards.
Yeah.
And tell us, because I can't figure out what this compares to. Like, we're hitting close tropes to it, but it's not exactly it. There is one thing that's very like specific that I can't figure out what it is. Because it's not the cross-dressing thing, but it's close to that, where it's like, I'm a woman who pretends to be a man, and then I have to reveal myself, and I'm in love with you by the end.
White chicks.
White chicks. She's the man. Like, it's close to that, but it's also not that.
Yeah.
Like, because that's a trope in itself. So it's there, and if you guys know what it is, and you've been shouting at your stereo for the past 15 minutes, why don't you just message us? So
back to the movie.
Let's dive in.
So we open up with like the cartoon credits of like him getting his different cancer treatments.
Well, first, it's Shelley Long doing a voiceover, pretending to write her next novel.
Yeah, and it's like, on South Carolina, and she grabbed his quivering beast.
Right?
And
No,
she's like, no,
that's
mind.
not it. And the movie like rewinds itself, and it's like, now she grabbed his quivering steel iron gates.
Yeah,
and
it's like more of a spooky take, and then it goes back to Southern California, and then she's like, Gus, and then she's like, no, my brother that's just survived cancer.
Right? So this is our first, Shelley Long is the queen of exposition in this movie, because this is our first example of it, right? And then they show pictures, which I believe are all actually from Steve Guttenberg's real childhood.
Yeah.
Not sure about the family photo at the beach where like whoever the youngest person is supposed to be Gus.
Yeah.
But then there's definitely a shot of Guttenberg at his own prom.
Yeah.
And then another one where he's a little bit younger, I guess from Police Academy years. And then but all throughout this, she's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. He just needs to find love and get himself back out there. And you're like, all right, cool. He's just a guy down on his luck, right? Then this whole depressing cartoon sequence comes, right?
Yeah. And
then the theme song, don't tell her it's me. And you're like, oh, okay, we're in the 90s.
Theming it.
Hard in the 90s.
Right.
And then we are introduced to Steve Guttenberg as Gus.
Dog.
And as all 90s movies have, it's a very talented Jack Russell Terrier.
Yep.
Which we never see again.
Yeah. We see the dog once after this. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe twice.
We don't see it by the end when it would matter when you're about to take a long vacation.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, fuck the dog then. Jeez.
Right?
Fend for itself.
Yeah. So then, and Shelley Long comes and she has brought Gus groceries. And as
she's like, this is the last time I'm bringing you groceries.
Right? And she's bringing him groceries because she is also in her like one-sided dialogue to him is giving us all the exposition that we need. That basically you've cured your cancer. You need to get back out there. You need to start dating again. Like, stop being depressed. And I'm no longer going to be delivering groceries to your house. You need to get out of the house. And he's like, I can't get out of the house when I look like he looks horrible to me.
He looks like Tweedledee and Tweedledum from Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland.
Look.
He does. That's like spot on too.
Oh man, he looks like Renfield. He looks awful.
He looks like castrated monk.
Okay. Like there's like 2 or 3 strings of hair hanging from the back of his head.
Dude, it's like
It's yeah,
shave it off,
right?
Give it up.
Which is
Those
interesting
aren't doing anything for
because
you.
this is the only scene where they gave him additional makeup. Because the next time you see him, he has an actual shaved head where Guttenberg actually just shaved his head. So like he's cleaned himself up and not wearing.
Maybe
any
that was a
makeup.
scene that they filmed like after he shaved his head and it started growing back.
Maybe where they're like, we need an establishing scene, something.
Yeah.
But it's there. His face is puffier. They've put makeup on him, and it is. He looks like a cracked eggshell.
Yeah.
Like he's like,
really?
Yeah, really gross. And I love this too. She's like, well, like, who cares about your hair? Didn't you get that like toupee I sent you? And he like puts on the toupee.
He doesn't know how to put it on consistently. It's like,
Never
dude,
knows how to put it on.
angles, shit. He's really bad at it.
But he also looks like, remember that like it was like 10 years ago that like that Russian like la 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 la.
Yeah.
He looks like that guy. Like in this where he's pretending to be a lounge singer for a second. And I'm like, okay, he got the joke that I just threw out.
It's just such an ugly toupee. Where it's like, no, it's like 70s hair.
But I just don't like it. What makes him ugly in this, because he doesn't look that bad when his head is just pure, like freshly shaven.
Yeah.
In one of the next scenes, he doesn't look that bad. It's the jowls, his like cheeks and everything that they've added that makes him look overweight and disgusting.
Yeah.
That really make this bad. It's like you didn't need the toupee if you also weren't grossly overweight, which is not to sound insensitive, but like, don't you lose weight with chemotherapy? I don't know.
Would imagine.
Right?
Because it makes you sick.
Yeah.
Essentially.
It makes you pretty much throw up.
It's like
guts out,
putting
right?
yourself in a microwave and just taking in all the radiation.
It's got to be horrible.
Yeah.
But they're not playing it well enough for it to be sympathetic. And that's why, like, I don't feel sympathetic when I speak about it right now.
Yeah.
Is because it feels like a Lifetime movie, so you're already rolling your eyes as, like, he comes, like, she's like, I almost lost you, and he's, like, at his drafting table, like, not paying attention, drawing one of these Ziggy cartoons that you just saw 3 minutes worth.
Yeah.
And then, like, comes over, waddles over, and gives her a hug, and, like, it's like an ass-out hug. Like, he's not, he's just like,
he's like, you're my
I love
sister.
you,
No,
sis.
not that close.
Right? And so you're like, oh, God, this is going to be... I really hope that this doesn't play out like this the whole movie. Which it doesn't. It's something else happens insane. So now we're thrown over to Emily.
Yes.
Emily is the lead love interest of the movie, right?
And she's on a date.
Yes, she's on a date. She's wearing way too much metal medallions all over her.
Yeah.
Like, she's got extremely large, like, horse metal type medallions on her ears, but also
What
has
is
like
horse metal?
No, like, it's metal horses.
Oh. I was like,
it's horse metal. It's horseshoes.
Horse metal?
That's what they are. No, but like, no, they look like horses, but they're giant. They're like. As it extends from her ear, they're definitely from like top of neck to shoulder in length, right? But also has this like anchor or something on her like suit coat lapel pin because she's wearing that like women's 90s suit coat blazer thing going on, right? And she's on an incredibly horrible date where the guy is like doesn't even know her name. He's like, "See you later," like I don't know, something Elizabeth, and she's like, "It's Emily," right? And he's like, "Yeah, no worries. See you next time." And like he's like just stupid.
He's very oblivious to the fact that she wasn't having fun.
No, and like he's trying to get her drunk. He's like, dos
happy hour, let's make it happy.
Huh?
Yeah, and he's like
go.
trying to speak Spanish to like the bartender, but she's like,
even the bartender's not having
the bartender's like, "Yeah, you want two?" Or he's like, dos para un, and she was like, "Yeah, it's still 2 for 1. It's still happy hour." And he's like, "Oh yeah, dos más." And she's like, "Okay." Like, obviously a white lady, like, very much speaking English, and she's like, "You don't have to do that, you idiot."
Yeah. So,
But then Emily goes home, and she's like, "Nah, bye."
right now,
But it
Emily.
turns out Emily's already engaged or something.
This is weird too. Okay.
I don't know. This whole movie dances around it.
Okay. So, Emily is played by Jami Gertz, which most famously people would know her as Star in The Lost Boys. That's like my favorite role that she's ever done. But I like her at times in this film, and then other times, like we said, she seems oblivious, like kind of airheaded, and easily manipulatable.
Yeah,
Is that a word?
easily manipulated.
Okay, manipulable.
She's malleable.
Yeah. And this shows it. So she works at a magazine as a journalist. An investigative journalist, right? The name of the magazine is Grackle. Did you notice this?
No.
Okay, at first I was like, is it Crackle? Is it like the streaming app, right? Because it's up as her and her, and his name is Trout. Right? Played by Kyle MacLachlan from Twin Peaks and Blue Velvet. Playing another like
blue.
Please don't. God, that movie's ridiculous. I'm sorry. People are we hate you.
Yeah.
How could you hate on him? I'm like, yeah, because it's a ridiculous movie.
It's easy
like,
to hate.
Go ahead and try to watch Dennis Hopper and not smile and laugh at that film. He is playing that typical asshole, smarmy boyfriend who's clearly cheating on the side.
Yeah.
Right? And says,
very obviously.
Yeah. Right? That's a trope.
But it's not even like the movie's trying to like make fun of it. It's just like it's super obvious. Like every time he's around, there's like backup girl that's like
it's
always
obvious,
waiting
but
for
also
her
not
chance.
Pleasant.
Yeah.
You know, like usually when you see this kind of guy, it's like a guy you kind of like to hate.
Yeah.
Where you're like, fuck that dude. I can't wait till she like says get out. Right.
Yeah.
That never happens in this. It's just here's this douche.
Yeah.
Right.
But he goes to meet up with her later, and like the girl's still there.
Yeah,
it's like they're ending it, and he's like, "I want you back," and it's like, "You literally have the other girl in your car, dude."
Yeah,
What?
and then he's also in that scene. He's lying to that girl who's like, "I broke up with her," right? And you're like, "I don't understand where this need to like have. I have the power." It's like doesn't matter. Like, so he plays Trout, and he is. If not the owner, he's not the owner because that girl he's cheating with, her daddy owns the magazine apparently. But he's the head editor
in chief
of Grackle.
Yeah,
right. And I saw it on the sign and I questioned it. And then as they go inside to continue their dialogue, there's like that are like real, like what a horrible name.
That's terrible,
right? So. I was like, you could have came up with anything, and like this is that lazy. It's lazy writing, but then it's also not lazy because you made a fake sign to put out on the storefront for Grackle, so you invested in a shitty name. Yeah, right.
So during this entire time, we've got her editor-in-chief / fiance
who's wearing ocular pat-down sunglasses in the scene.
I was like, did you just get your eyes dilated? What are you doing?
He's wearing like circular like 60s shades, but also with like horse blinders on the side.
Jesus Christ. He's trying to convince her that she should take an article that she doesn't really want to take. And the article
why are they both out of breath in this scene?
They've walked.
Did you notice
a full
this?
30 feet. It's really daunting.
I can't. I don't want you to leave me. And then somebody like says something else to him, and he's like, "That's bullshit, Eddie. That's bullshit." Right? Oh God, I can't breathe. Like they're both out of breath for no reason. They're like. The scene is escalating for no reason, and she's trying to talk about their relationship, and he's like, I need my best editor girl out there. Like, and he assigns her to go to this convention where
it's like a romance novel convention, and she goes in with guns a-blazing.
The 3rd annual Lovebury, it says.
It's terrible. And it's also stupid because it's like, why would they ever have that, and why would they have it there?
Okay, so it's a romance writers convention. Right? it is extremely packed for something. I'm like, there can't be that many.
Gills. But if you notice, it's all filled with middle-aged women. So it's like
Middle-aged women dressed as Southern belles.
Yeah.
Also weird, right? Now, this is where she runs into Shelley Long's character.
Yeah.
Right?
And she's like shitting on Shelley Long as a writer to Shelley Long's face. And then like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But Shelley Long immediately looks at her and is like, hey, are you single? Do you want to fuck someone that just got over cancer? You want to marry him? Do you have any qualms about cancer? Like, she's like hounding her.
But she's also questioning her in a way that would make you think, like, are you gay? Are you hitting on me?
Yeah.
Right?
I was like, whoa.
Right?
And then she eventually.
Are you single? Or are you dating, married, anything? Like,
but she.
But she. How does she not? Okay, in this scene, how does she not connect two and two together? This is that first sign of like you're a horrible investigative journalist.
Yeah.
Because Shelley Long is standing next
to
a
cardboard
giant
cutout of herself.
cardboard cutout of herself. Like,
and people are asking her for autographs as they are talking.
Right? Can't figure it out. Also, did you notice in this scene, and they cross in front of camera, there's a nun and a guy in like a monk's cloak? Yeah.
Cosplay. They're cosplaying.
Well, it's the Love Berea, like anything goes. Like there's a whole S&M portion with like nuns and fantasies.
Exactly.
I get it.
So Shelley Long, eventually, as she's talking to the character Emily's like, oh, I want to interview for this piece, and Shelley's like, cool, you'll get your interview, but like, come over for dinner. Like, we'll talk more there.
Right. So first manipulation of Emily.
And then Emily joins them at dinner.
Right.
She goes to their house for dinner. And
this is where Shelley Long starts doing more establishing dialogue for things that will lead to other things later in the movie. Things like, my dog, he doesn't like anyone but my brother.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, okay, that's going to play
My
out.
daughter doesn't talk. She only says the word uncle because she loves her uncle.
Uncle, right? Oh, God, right? So these two things, like, and you're hearing them, like, off screen. She's not really saying them immediately to Emily, like, where we're watching it.
Yeah.
It's, like, off in the kitchen, be like, that's weird. He doesn't say anything but my uncle, right? And you're like, well, I feel like that's important, especially in a movie that we know is going to be a like change of identity movie. Yeah. Like, thanks for making it extremely obvious.
Watch out, we're gonna know.
Right? But we're gonna play it off. Somehow the investigative journalist won't know that it's him.
Yeah.
Right? And don't anybody tell her, because that's the name of the movie. So meanwhile, as all that's playing out, we have the little Shelley Long's little girl. His name is Annabelle, but they call her Piglet.
Puts a full bolt in her mouth.
She takes a bolt because there's a bunch of bolts. They're in a paint can full of oil in the middle of the living room.
Yeah, it's like a pile of shit.
Well,
like,
okay,
it's just mechanical pieces on the floor.
To be fair, like, this whole town is a pile of shit.
Yeah, it really is.
Okay?
It's a disgusting town.
So this is Charleston, South Carolina, is where this was filmed and supposed to be based in, right? And just everything about it feels filthy and old. And to me, like, at first I went, is this New Orleans? Like, it has a New Orleans swampy feel. Yeah. Right? And also it has
town.
like very plantation-esque things, right? Apparently it's an island town.
Oh.
James Island.
All right, cool.
Yeah, which immediately after the filming of this, a hurricane hit and basically destroyed almost every single filming location, like facades.
It came
so,
too
like,
late.
If you are trying to hunt down "Don't Tell Her It's Me" / the boyfriend school memorabilia, and good luck. Yeah, because it's not there. Yes, Hurricane Hugo in 1990 swept through and destroyed most of South Carolina, Charleston. So
Gus rolls up.
Yes.
Wait.
Well, I'm talking about the dirty bolts in the living room, right? So it fits with this place is dirty, right?
Yeah.
So little Piglet grabs a bolt that's covered in oil and just sticks it in her mouth.
Yeah.
Right? And this is where what I think is some of the most enjoyable things from Shelley Long come into place.
Yeah.
I should have wrote it down because it's just
Well, so the whole there are bits throughout the entire movie where Annabelle will Piglet. She'll do something.
she takes a crescent wrench and actually starts undoing the gas line
Yeah.
in the heater.
But
or she eats a cockroach.
Yeah, she does different things that are potentially dangerous, and Shelley Long overly explains what would happen.
Yeah.
Like with whenever she starts undoing the gas line, she's like, "Now, Piglet, we know we don't want to do that because eventually you would take in so much carbon monoxide that your fingernails and your lips would turn cherry red."
Okay, I have the space heater one that happens later. I did write that one down. It goes, "No, Annabelle, don't play with the space heater coil. Piglet, if you breathe gas, it will tie up all your available hemoglobins and there will be none left for oxygen transfer. Your lips and nail beds will turn cherry red and you'll die of carbon monoxide poisoning." And then she sits down and goes, "I like to acquaint her with consequences." And but I'm not doing the delivery or anything justice. This is probably the best stuff in the movie is this constant the kid doesn't even talk other than saying uncle, right? And she's throwing these terms out, and it's in this I'm a superior mother, an educated mother type of thing.
Yeah.
And it's done so well, I think, because she's a writer and she's trying to be classy and teach her children lessons, but it's coming off you're that's terrifying.
Scary.
Right?
I like it.
So the little girl goes and spits out the bolt and drops it right in Emily's immaculately white dress that she's wearing, right? Which immediately looks like a
black vagina stain.
Yep.
It's right in her crotch.
And she's like, "Let's take you and get this off of you and wash you up." Meanwhile, Gus has been invited to dinner too. And as this has all been playing out, the scene has been jumping back and forth between what's happening that we described and him trying to decide, does he wear his wig or does he not wear this wig? Because he has seen Emily through the window and he is immediately love at first sight.
Yeah.
And so finally, Piglet goes outside and is like, "Uncle," and he's like, "Oh no, don't run in and tell them I'm here," and suppose that he's here, so now he has to go inside, no matter if he's talked himself up or not. He immediately goes to where Emily is changing and thinks that it's Lizzie, and he's like, "I don't think I can go through with this," and then Emily is pretty much fully dressed because she's wearing that 90s
she's wearing a
slip.
Yeah.
Plus, a full-on, what looks like would be a Frederickson Hollywood 80s, teddy.
Yeah.
She's fully clothed for being somebody who
looks
doesn't
like
have
she
her
was wearing
clothes on.
pajamas underneath her dress.
Yes.
It's all right.
Right? And he's like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry, I walked in on you," right? So it's they've already off to an awkward start, right?
Yeah.
But honestly, it shouldn't be that awkward.
No.
Because the next scene, they are sitting across from each other, right? And nobody's
It's dinner.
talking.
It's super silent. They're eating soup. And then the
Randy
Shelley
Quaid
Long,
knockoff husband is there slurping it up and is like, "I think we need music."
Dinner music. Oh, I almost
Right?
forgot.
So it turns on this extremely loud music.
Yeah.
And then the two of them, Lizzie and her husband, leave in order for them to get acquainted over the extremely loud, awkward music.
They can't hear each other, so they're yelling. Blah blah blah. He accidentally pushes his wig in a further back. And...
he looks like the aliens from This Island Earth. He looks so alien-like with the wig pushed up and this giant egghead
forehead. That's like a 5 head.
And she, when he realizes that the wig's down, she's in mid-sentence and just stops herself. And I think it's more awkward to not just carry on the conversation while he fixes the wig, because she just stops and she's and looks away, and you're like, just don't acknowledge it. Oh God. So then, in another weird turn of events, the husband brings out the main course.
Oh, the main course is octopus noodles?
Nope, it's
jellyfish
salad.
Yeah, jellyfish salad.
So it's called Young So High.
Oh.
Right? It's jellyfish salad. Why? Are they trying? Okay, because Lizzie is dressed in like a kimono and has like chopsticks in her hair, right? And she's put Emily in a kimono because her dress isn't ready too, right? So like, what are they going for?
Yeah.
You know, because this is supposed to be you're coming to dinner so that I can interview you, and on Lizzie's side, it's you're coming to dinner so you can meet my brother.
Yeah.
Right? And in what world do we think that I'm going to allow my husband to make this ridiculous thing that I personally have never heard of?
Well, they're just a very, like, Emily says
eclectic.
later in the film, she's like, they're characters.
Yes.
So
I guess so.
Emily
But, like,
eats
what the
it. Yeah. Emily eats it, and she like puts a whole like spoonful in her mouth, and she's like, weird, it's chewy but gritty, but like weird.
Yeah, and then
he's
she
like,
hallucinates that Gus looks like the creature in the deformed guy in the wheelchair from Hills Have Eyes, who's like, it's breakfast time.
I think it's supposed to imply that she's
you
having
know what
like
I'm talking about, don't you?
No, you know I don't.
You've never
watch
seen
movies.
Hills Have Eyes?
Not
the remake?
Ever? No.
Oh, you in horror movies, you should love.
I know.
This is a great remake. Hills
Okay.
Have Eyes.
Cool.
So this is the second time, but it's a hallucination that they put him in like more makeup than he's normally. He has this like bulged out neck, right? And like, so I don't know.
I think she was having an allergic reaction, but they like kind of didn't
play it
do
out
it right?
properly.
Yeah.
It just seems like she was disgusted by everything that was going on. But that's what's sad is that like her hallucination of him makes it seem like she just imagines he's a disgusting person.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, that's a little insensitive.
Well, I think that was what it was supposed to try and portray.
I guess. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah.
He looks like horrible. Like, he looks like a monster.
So then Emily goes home and Gus is like, I'm kind of bummed this isn't working.
Sure. He's like, she'll never see me for, like, you know, the nice guy inside. And this is also where, what's it called? Then they go back. Emily is playing Narc, the arcade video game.
Yeah,
from back
in her
the 90s.
office.
No, in Trout's office.
Oh, in Trout's. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So Trout just has the video game Narc for some reason, like, which is basically an old like Double Dragon, like kind of smash 'em up video game if people remember it. But it doesn't. I don't understand, like, because they focus on it. They actually
they go real heavy into it.
Right. They show a screenshot of her playing it, like. Why?
like no one's narking in this film. What is?
No, it's not. Yeah, it's not an allusion to anything.
Yeah.
Like it's not. Like, it makes no sense, right? And then this scene kind of makes no sense either, other than the fact that like Trout is jealous that she went out somewhere and he doesn't know where it is, right?
Yeah.
So. This scene establishes that he is still in love with her, and he's jealous that she might be going out with other people, right? And then he calls himself King Bee, which I don't quite understand what that is. Like, they don't have kings in the bee system. But she's digging it. He's like, King Bee's going to get that hive. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Ooh, he's got hives?
Right? And then scene over, I guess.
Yeah.
So Lizzie has given Emily her entire collection.
Her book collection. That no one can hold just one book at one time.
No, you've got to go
hold every single book
and
at once.
Push them together hard.
You got to use physics.
Yeah. And so she gives her that, and Emily starts reading the first book, and seems to be halfway through before she's like disgusted, and it's like, ugh, black, and like throws it across the room.
Tries to read a different like self-help book.
Something like the child of, I don't even know.
Yeah,
like, I was like, just go to bed, I guess. Like,
and then she like peeks up and still looks at the book, and then it's like early morning, and she's like on the final pages, and she's like breathing and touching her own chest, and then like as she's finishing the book, like someone knocks on the door, and she's like, "Oh, hold on," and it's Shelley.
Lizzie. Yeah,
Lizzie.
Mm-hmm.
Lizzie,
now,
Shelley, Lizzie.
She's shown up because, like.
They didn't do their interview.
Yeah, under the ruse of she didn't do the interview, but it's becoming painfully obvious within the first minute that Lizzie is scouting her apartment to see if does she have a man in interest. She's looking into her trash to see if she has anything in common.
Yeah, straight up staring into her trash can. I was like, oh my God.
It's weird, right? And they give us a shot of what's in the trash can so that we as an audience who also got a shot of what's in Gus's trash can in the beginning of the film, so that we go, oh my God, they eat like cheeseburgers. Yeah. They like things, right? And you're like, that's not... You couldn't have found anything else in the room. You couldn't have... Maybe she likes cartoons. He's a cartoonist. Like, give us something, because...
A little bit more, please, movie.
The film, by the end of the movie, never establishes that these two people, Gus and Emily, actually have a goddamn
really
thing in common. Not a thing.
It's basically a movie about, like, are you both hot? You should date.
Yeah, right? Are you guys easily manipulable? Yeah. All right, cool. There you go. Happy life. Because that's what this is.
Yeah.
So this is where Annabelle tried to undo the gas line with a crescent wrench, right? And we already did that line of dialogue. But this is also Annabelle then immediately after that picks up a roach and is like hanging a roach is hanging out of her mouth.
She's eating it.
Yeah, eating a roach. Like, this child is got some issues.
Yeah.
Right?
She's an odd bird.
Right? Doesn't talk, doesn't say a word, eats roaches, is trying to blow everybody up. Like, interesting to say the least. Right? So Lizzie also notices that Emily has a picture of her and Trout together on her bedroom.
Yeah.
Which is like, God damn it, stay out of her bedroom. Like, this woman is insane in an interesting character way. Like, it's fun. But, like, when you really think about it, you're like, dear God. Like, and they do acknowledge it by the end of the movie. They're like, she's a meddler. Yeah. She meddles. And, but because she sees a picture of her and Trout and she kind of questions her about where her interests lie, she takes when she says, oh, what about Gus, and Emily, who, to her credit, legitimately straight up doesn't fully beat around the bush, like when it comes to like her interest or lack of interest in Gus.
No,
which, like I said, to her credit, way to go, because most people like unknowingly lead a lot of people on, like by not giving them the right responses. She straight up to Lizzie is like, I'm sorry, I'm just not into it, right? And then when Lizzie delivers that information to Gus, Gus tries one more time just to be a nice guy, be like, hey, it's Gus from that weird dinner.
You want to go to a show? And then she's like,
which he's just reading off shows that are in the newspaper and being like, I got tickets to the Cowboy Bebops. Right? And she's like, no, like this is the only time when she's not straightforward. But she's still enough to be like, take the hint, bro.
Yeah.
You know, because he's like, how about the Cowboy Bebop? She's like, no, I'm sorry, I'm taking these classes. And then he asks for something else, and she's like, oh, I'm really busy that day. The only misstep I think a lot of women do this, is in order to be nice by the end, because she feels sorry. Like, he has cancer, and I'm not into... Yeah. She says the words, maybe some other time. So, her bad on that part, because, like, instead of being like, I'm sorry, I'm not interested.
Yeah, but also men are crazy.
Right. Yeah, no, I understand.
Obvious, because he changes his entire personality just to get with a girl.
Right. And this is where everything in the film turns into, I feel like a lot of things that are happening in today's society are a direct correlation to watching films like this.
Yeah.
Okay? This John Hughes, like all the way till at least early 2000s, do anything you can to get the girl, you know, and you will win by the end.
Stupid.
Has fucking destroyed us.
People
as
are
a society.
going to do their own lives.
Has destroyed us as a society. Has destroyed me. I swear to God, I will to this day tell you that I am more hopeful and more romantic than your normal average male at this point because of John Hughes. It's a lot of his fault.
Ew.
Okay, and but this is another movie that builds that trope of being like, you can completely transform your look, your image, the way you act, your voice. And you will get the girl, and then even when you misstep and you reveal yourself to be who you actually are, it'll be okay. That's not real life.
It's bad.
But that's the setup for the rest of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, he gets deflated that she's like, maybe some other time, and he actually takes the hint there that she's not into Gus, right?
And then he calls his sister, and he's like,
Right?
make me over, make me a good guy. And she's like, great. So they work on like his physical fitness, and he gets fit, and he starts growing hair.
That's where it should have ended, though.
Yeah.
It should have been, like, in a real-life scenario, it should have been like, let's work on you.
To get a different girl that likes you.
Or at least work on you and have you guys meet up one more time and see if it literally was because you had no hair and you had, like, strings of hair hanging off you, right? Like, let's see if it's, like, at least it was that one physical... Because, to be honest... I'd say physical attraction is at least 75% of attraction.
I mean, if you can't look at him, why would you date him?
Right? So,
it's
to
all
her
about
credit,
personality. No, it's not.
well,
Shut up.
It is once the initial physical attraction.
Yeah.
You know? Like, let's be honest about that. So, in this moment, she should have gotten the weight off of him, got him the abs, and then was like, hey, you've already got a really good personality. You're a good guy, which she says in the beginning of the movie. You're a great guy, man. Like, you're going to get somebody.
Yeah.
Well, then believe in that and then set them up on one additional meeting.
Yeah.
Like, you've already meddled enough to set them up in the same room once. You can do it again.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Especially because I don't feel like Emily ever writes that article about Lizzie.
She never finishes it.
Like, well, it doesn't matter because, like, they're going to go on a plane and happily ever after. Who gives a shit about the grackle? But that's where it should have stopped. But no, they go the extra. They decide to turn him into
a New Zealander.
With the mullet. He rides a motorcycle and is basically Mel Gibson from Mad Max.
Yeah.
Right? He's even got like armor or shin guard armor and stuff like that. And I expect him to have like a Bowie knife in his boot.
Yeah.
You know?
And he's like in the United States illegally?
No idea.
Because he's like, and she's like, oh, you have a green card. Oh, you're here illegally.
Right?
Oh, I have to marry you to make you a legal citizen. Let's do it. Like, she's so hyped for it.
Oh, it's totally that fantasy.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, that's the idea, is that you have a romance novelist who is taking her idea of what she believes women want in the early 90s and giving her that. Meanwhile, she's never studied to know if Emily even appreciates her books, that she would be into that trope, right? She's not done enough research to be investing her brother's spirit and money into this character.
Yeah.
But somehow it just, of course, in the suspension of movie not logic, immediately, of course, she's going to go for it. Yeah. But as you said, you were going for George Michael too, and I think everybody was at that point.
He was a handsome man.
Right?
He was beauty.
Yeah, he's like a not ripped Fabio.
I would rather have it that way.
Yeah. So yeah, in a montage, like she gives him, because he tries to do other accents. He's like, I can do French, and then it's not a French accent.
Yeah.
And then he's like, what about Spanish?
She's like, we got to do an accent that no one knows a lot about.
So that made me question, going like, did nobody know what New Zealanders sound like in 1990? Like, I didn't understand that. But
you can get him on
audiobook,
a cassette. You can get a cassette of New Zealand words.
Yeah, yeah, right. So he's listening to that, and she's like, "Listen, repeat, and do that." So he's listening to this accent of a New Zealander, and then they go to a stylist. And they're showing him different haircuts on a computer screen, his face with different haircuts.
Like Clueless in outfits.
Yeah. And then off screen, they're like, yes, that's the one, right? Mind you, he did not have enough hair to pull off this mullet in this scene.
They probably glued extensions on.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty good
Because
extensions.
he's also not a blonde, because they make sure they establish that by the end of the movie. But he's kind of blonde in this, like a dirty blonde.
So
right?
he gets his hair done, and then we see Emily getting gas at a gas station.
Mm-hmm.
And she, for some reason, she does. She gets distracted because miraculously Gus is there on his motorcycle.
He must have stalked her.
Oh, he stalked her 100%.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's just riding around town, like, looking for her, like, shitty 1957 Buick that's, like, pumping out, like, exhaust fumes
And
everywhere she
30
goes.
feet long.
Yeah, right?
Longest
So I
drive
guess it
along.
wasn't hard to find.
Yeah.
But, yeah, she pulls up, starts pumping gas. Immediately, he pulls up in a motorcycle and kind of silently, like, stares her down and is pumping gas as well. She goes in to the clerk to be like, listen,
I only have $3, but I put $20 worth in my gas. Also, gas at that time was $1.
99 cents, right? I
was
saw
like,
it. Yep.
You put 20 gallons in that car? Okay.
Yeah, no, I
Jeez.
can believe that. It's an old school car.
I drive a Prius, and it only takes 10 gallons, but it lasts me forever.
Yeah, but I believe that. My problem is that, like, how did you
didn't
go
have money?
20 gallons
Yeah.
and not have anything, right? And then is like, do you take, like, Sears cards? I'm like, when did you become
Yeah.
retarded?
Jeez. And it turns out that the gas station is being robbed.
Yeah, that's not the convenience store clerk. The convenience store clerk is on the floor, held at gunpoint. And the person she's talking to is the robber.
And he's holding her at gunpoint then, and then Gus walks in. And Gus, like, wanders around the gas station, is like, I need beer. I don't need beer. This place is getting robbed. Tries to leave, doesn't leave, and then walks up and is like, doing his own internal monologue, like, you can't do this. Yeah, you can. No.
It's the only point in the movie that has an internal monologue, too. So,
Yeah.
like, it feels misplaced and out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I get it. Like, comedically, they're like, we have to show what he's thinking.
Yeah.
Like, but, no, just do it.
Right.
You know? So he's fiddling with the coffee maker.
He picks up a beef jerky stick and is like, this isn't a weapon, and puts it back in. And
Yeah.
like, you just dirtied that beef jerky stick, asshole.
Well, it's wrapped. Who cares?
No, it was like one of those blank ones that's in, like, a container that's, like, self-serve with tongs.
Oh, okay.
But
well,
then he grabs a coffee mug, and as
he fast times in Ridgemont High's the guy.
Yeah.
It's
as the
exactly
guy's
what he does.
distracted by, like, his getaway wife,
Who rolls out of the truck with a machete?
Yeah. Which is oddly very similar to the movie I just watched on Netflix called The Ritual.
Yep.
It
Just keep bringing that
happens.
one up every
I
week.
know. It just happened because they were in a convenience store and people are robbing it with a machete.
Hey,
And
sometimes
that's the start of the movie.
Sometimes you
It's
gotta
crazy.
reference. Don't tell her
Yeah.
it's me.
But so then he, like, throws the coffee pot in his face. It's just an empty one with glass, so it's not that satisfying. But it distracts him. The wife rolls in with the machete, and then Emily takes a cooler chest full of ice and beer that she got out of nowhere and throws it at the lady, and the lady falls and runs out.
It's very clumsy.
Yeah.
Like, it's not heroic enough to be like, you saved
Yeah.
me. Like, it's clumsy because
Yeah.
he also sprains his ankle here.
Yeah, and he
Right?
punches the robber in the face as well.
Okay.
And then they start to leave, but Emily's like, you can't ride your motorcycle on that leg, so he goes home with Emily.
Right.
And they're sitting on the couch, chilling, chit-chatting, and she, like, touches his leg, and he's like, ow! And she's like, oh, please don't pass out. And then he's like, I should pass out just to fake it.
Well, this is also
Like, what?
this is where his accent goes out of control.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's like, I am Lobo, I hunt alone, right? And you're like, okay, that's his, like, mantra that he says in order to, like, because he says it in the convenience store, right? But then he says something out of accent, right?
Yeah.
And it's the only time that she really catches it, where she's like, what was that? And he's like, oh, I meant, like, but before he can say anything, he's like, and then he, like, grabs a piece of paper and is like, my name is Lobo, I hunt alone.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, oh, he has to say that in order to get the accent right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, there's certain things that you say that are like the catchphrase for somebody in order to get into the accent. He has to say this mantra. So he's, like, whispering to himself that before he's like, I meant whiskey. Like
Whiskey.
right? Put it in a taller
Yeah.
glass. You know, and you're just like, what is this accent?
Really bad. He never follows it too. Like they have full conversations both without accents, and then he goes back to it later. So it's like she definitely notices. So then like he pretends to pass out and she kisses him, and then she's like, "What am I doing? Weird, creepy." And
Spirits for the spirits.
Yeah.
He says that one when they like. I love he's got the most cliche, stupid one-liners for this character. That like, yeah. So there's this little totem, and we couldn't pass over it because it's important.
Oh yeah.
It is very much. What's interesting is that the things that he does in this turn out to be the exact kind of things that really shitty like book in the 2000s, The Game, the whole thing that they based that like VH1 reality show on with like mystery, like Peacock Theory and How to Get Women and like, you know, that whole shit.
No.
You never heard of that?
Nope.
Okay, so like in the early 2000s, there was like The Pickup Artist was the name of the show, right? And it was how nerdy, stupid guys or guys that aren't that good looking can learn from a master pickup artist.
So like Hitch.
Yeah, it's Hitch.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But there was a whole reality show on it, and there was a book, right? And in that book, there was this whole thing about like basically leaving an article behind that a girl they called it anchoring to, right?
Yeah.
And it's like something that reminds her of you that now she has, and then either holds on to it to keep her mind on you.
Or you got to meet back up to get it again.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a
right?
good trick.
He's like,
who doesn't just know that trick?
Right?
People are so dumb. You have to read a book to figure that out? Jesus
I guess
Christ.
so, right?
I got like 18 anchors out there right now, just waiting.
Oh man, yo ho,
I do
yo
miss
ho.
I miss my Christmas jacket though. I left that at someone's house.
I have like my Christmas jacket back. You haven't given it back yet, and I was expecting to hook up already.
No,
Thank
no.
you.
When I get it back, I'll get it back.
Oh, it's still coming.
Oh, it's going to.
But
so, yeah.
that's what this is. This
Yeah.
little necklace that she's like, looks like it's from Easter Island. He's like, what? Like, because he thought it looked like from, I guess, New Zealand.
Yeah.
So even that joke's like played off.
Right.
This little necklace gets caught in their drinks, so that's the first like mention of it. Like he raises his glass and it's caught in her drink, and spirits full of spirits. and then she, like you said, she sits on his leg, which she's like, oh my god, don't pass out, which gives him the idea I should pass out so that like I've become the victim or something, right? So it's so manipulative.
Oh yeah.
Right? She immediately, as he's passed out, is like, I need to kiss this dude, right? Kisses him, runs away, and he like opens his eyes like a peek, like, haha, I got her, right?
Yeah.
She wakes up the next morning. She's like barricaded the door, but not.
Well,
Did you
she's
notice
barricaded
this?
her own door.
Right.
She just put a chair in front of it, so at least like that way, it's like if he comes in, I'd know.
If he comes in, I'll hear the wicker chair
Yeah.
scrape against the wood of the floor, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I'll wake up and be like, take me.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
But she wakes up and he's not there, but he's written a note in lipstick on her mirror saying like, too bad you're engaged, and has left that totem necklace behind.
Yeah.
Right. So where are we?
Well, then the movie kind of gets out of hand where like I think she chats with her husband.
Okay, so she wakes up, right,
Fiance.
and he's not there.
Yeah.
Trout calls her on the phone, and this I wrote this down because she pronounces this like I pronounce things. She's like, Trout, I have to go. There's Jehovah's Witnesses at my door. That's exactly how she says
Yeah.
it. And I was like, there's what?
Who are they?
Oh, the Lord Jehovah.
Yeah.
Do you have time to speak about our Lord and Savior Jehovah?
Oh.
Like, she says, and I go, all right, that's not right. And that's coming from me.
Yeah.
Right? So next, this is where it gets weird because Lizzie decides to hire a, like, sex coach.
Yeah.
Which is a great scene because I love this actress.
Yeah, she's good.
From Donnie Darko, and she's the She's the little old lady that, well, she's not that old, but she's a middle-aged lady that, like, dies in Speed. She's the one that, like, tries to get off the bus when he said nobody get off the bus and he blows the stairs. Remember that? Yeah, she's that lady. She's in so much stuff.
Yeah, she's a nice side actress.
Yeah, she's a character actress.
Yeah, but
right?
she's so she's there. She's teaching.
Right.
She's
like,
teaching Gus about sex.
Penises.
Yeah.
Right.
But she's like the warm up zones.
Right.
And
these are our kindling zones. Yeah. Right.
Using a fire analogy, which I was like, what? No.
Right. Before she goes, something about she's like, the breast and the vaginas is the charcoals, and you're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Right. But she's great at it. This is also like the dummy has breasts, but it also has like a Velcro on penis.
Oh, and she rips it off.
So it's a sex change dummy.
Yeah.
Like instant sex change. Right. For whatever the moment is. Right.
Yeah.
She also has this like. She's like, this is how we get the fire started, right? And is like doing this weird like tongue thing to the mannequin. Like
and it's not like she could be like, make out with them. It's like wave your tongue in front of their face.
Right. It's wave your tongue in front. It's like the symbol for eating someone out.
Yeah.
When you put your fingers between your mouth and do that tongue thing, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But like in somebody's face. Now, I don't know about you. Like,
never done it. Not appealing.
I mean, that's why I'm still single at 35. I've watched this movie and was like, that's how it's done.
That's what I got to do.
But it's weird. And he sees this and he's like, no, I can't have Lobo do that to her. And I'm like,
what did you plan to do?
Dude? Like, so my question is, like, it seems like, has he ever had a girl before? Did the Hodgkinsons get him at an early age and he's just finally overcoming it? I don't really know how old he is, so why is this like... It's weird, right? And it's played for laughs, but it doesn't really further the story along either, right?
It's just a throwaway scene.
Yeah.
And then...
But he's upset because he's already upset that he's playing this ruse on her. Right? And it's like, dude, you've gone this far.
Yeah,
like,
can't back
I don't
out
understand
now.
where you're getting a conscience now. Like, you got a conscience because it worked?
Right?
Like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's great.
Right?
And then we have the scene where Trout and Emily are at work, right?
You mean where they keep jumping back to the girl he's obviously cheating on with?
Yeah, and he's like looking over the cubicle and she's like putting on lipstick and she's like, yeah. And meanwhile, Emily's playing with the totem.
Yes.
And he's like, oh, is it a present for me? She's like,
yeah, he was
usually
like,
when you propose,
engagement present.
Yeah, he's like engagement. And she's like, no, you're supposed to give me something. You
I
idiot.
guess anybody, any man that's wearing like a weird, super thin like earring is going to be an idiot.
Yeah,
a douchebag, because that's what he's wearing.
What'd you do with yours?
Huh? Oh, I got rid of it a while ago because I saw this movie. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Not for me.
So she decides to return the totem. Right? To the, what?
Her last name is Pear.
Yeah, Emily Pear. Yeah. Are you all right there?
I hate it. I hate her. Goddamn fruit. That sounded like I was being
racist to fruit? Oh.
Racist to fruit or homophobic.
Yeah. So... she's like, well, I don't know where he lives. I don't know anything about him, but I do know that he left his motorcycle back there. Maybe he hasn't picked it up yet. So I'm going to drop off the totem there. But she doesn't drop off the totem there. She sits in the car and waits, right?
Which, of course, Gus rolls up 5 seconds after. He's like, oh, no, she's here. And it's like, yeah.
This is a good bit, actually. It's like, oh, no, it's Emily. So he ducks down. And then Lizzie, who's driving, decides to duck down too. So it's this Volvo that's just rolling by them, rolling by her, with nobody driving it, right? And she goes like, well, "That's weird." And that's it, right? And then he happens to immediately roll up, and this is where, because he had not established what his name was.
Yeah,
this is where you get the line. She's like, "I don't even know your name." He goes, "Lobo." Lobo Marenga.
Lobo Marenga.
Right?
Doesn't mean anything fun.
All right. Yeah. My name is Mel Gibson. Right? It's about the same. Right?
And then she's like, you can't drive with a broken foot.
right?
And he's like, well, here, you do the footwork. I'll steer.
Right?
Like, that's dangerous. What?
So he takes her on the motorcycle. She's like, I got to get it back to work. And he's like, I thought you could show me the parts a bit. Right? And you're like, what did you just say? Mind you, I am doing a good impression of the horrible accent.
Yeah, surprisingly for once.
Right? You would think that Lobo's in the room.
Yeah. Lobo, is that you? Oh, no, just Jonathan.
No, it's not me.
Damn it. I was so hard for a second.
Right? I'm still doing it when I said right. So
she
her
takes...
idea with a person who has a messed up ankle is to take him dancing?
Yeah. But it's like dancing in a dance hall that's completely empty and being refurbished.
Right? While other people... This scene and the scene where she finds out who he really is and there's a guy with like groceries watching, like there's always these random people watching them do these things in this movie for no reason. So yeah, they go dancing and then it's like kind of a mini montage of them like talking on a pier and it's sunset and stuff like that. And then I don't know how he leaves it a second time, but he leaves the totem again.
Yeah, and he writes his number on her
That's
hand.
right. 555 something 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 on her palm, right? So now
she can't be clean.
This is great too cuz I wrote it down as it was happening, right? It's like call me whenever, right? And I started writing, I went, gee, I wonder if she's going to call and Gus is going to answer as Gus, right? And then immediately the scene changes over to like, I don't know, him driving on a bridge or somebody's driving on a bridge and you hear a voiceover being like, hello, is Lobo there? Like, and it's Gus being like, hello? Hey, what? Oh, wait, Lobo? And then he decides to do a third impression.
Yeah,
he's like, hey, he's lifting weights right now.
Lobo's lifting some weights over there. He does like odd New York.
Right?
Like that? Okay.
Yeah, he's like, hey, don't worry about it. I'll get him in a second. He's lifting the weights. Yeah. Right? And you're like, what is happening? Like, because then you have to explain to somebody who's already curious if he's gay as to why another man answered, right? Because that's actually a good thing is like during this whole ruse, he has refused to be physical with her at all.
Yeah.
Right? He won't kiss her. So after the second or the third time, because I think it's after they go to Lizzie's. Right?
Yes.
She starts questioning, like, when he won't make out with her for the third time, she's like, gay, married, diseased, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Which is legitimate at this point. But she calls him, and it's like, you got to come pick up your totem, right? Which is just an excuse for her to see him, right? He comes over, and he's like, best not be keeping you. Right? And she's like, no, come with me. My car is messed up. Might be the battery, might be the axle. I don't know what it is. Like, and it's obvious to everyone, including Gus, that she's making up an excuse just to be with him. So as soon as she like leaves to go get the books, he's like, yes, oh my God.
Got it, oh my God.
Yeah, I got her to, and I'm like, dude, you've been getting her.
Yeah, but it's
like,
also a pretty gay moment because he's like, he does like a fist pull down. He's like,
yes,
oh my God. Oh my gosh, yes. And
right?
I was like, oh, okay. Calm down me, circa 2006.
So unbeknownst to him, until I guess they're within the neighborhood, like she's like, I've got to return some books to a friend.
Well, at first she's like, oh, I got to return something to a friend. And then she's like frantically searching her apartment. Like, what do I need to return? What do I need to return? And then Paul's like,
the full
all
stack,
13
holding
books.
them like, like we said they would. Right?
Miraculously stores them somewhere on that motorcycle. Not in a backpack, though.
It's in a bag that she's holding on her chest.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, because I questioned this too. And then as soon as she got off the bike, I saw the bag. And I was like, all right, fine.
So then, like, comedy ensues.
At what point would you know that that's where you're going, and as Gus be like, I shouldn't
probably pulling
be
up
there,
the driveway,
right?
And he tries to avoid it, but then he gets in, and Shelley Long sees him, and he's like shushing her, like, "Don't tell her it's me."
He doesn't say that, but
yeah,
he
but
should,
then at the same time,
right?
like,
and then we're like, title.
Obviously, like Shelley Long's not going to be like, Gus. I mean,
right?
Who are you?
But they also have this weird scene, like immediately after that, where they're like, she is serving them drinks, and she's like, "It's Lobo, that's your name, right?" And he's like, "So you're a quote unquote writer. Like they're teasing each other in the
They're
scene.
like mean to each
and I'm
other.
like, you guys are painfully obvious, right? Also, the dog, remember we said foreshadowing and exposition? The dog killer only likes Lobo. Weird.
Yeah.
And she's like, I thought you said that only he likes Gus. And she's like, he's warming up to people.
Yeah.
Right? And then also, Annabelle immediately sees Lobo, the character, and goes, Uncle, right? And instead of brushing it off and being like, I don't even know, like, because Uncle doesn't really sound like uncle unless you
but
know
at the same
it's uncle.
time, Shelley Long could have just been like, oh, you kind of look like my brother Gus.
No, because I think that would have started putting things together even more. Like,
No, I don't think so. Emily's pretty dumb.
Emily is dumb, but let's assume she's not, and let's be smarter,
Yeah.
right? And not bring attention to this situation. And that's the problem is in this moment, little girl says Uncal, right? Now, only Emily and Lizzie would know what Uncal is, right?
Yeah.
So they could brush it off of being like, it's weird. She just calls everybody uncle, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But I guess if you use violently a lot, I use the word doubles down. Because he doubles down on this ruse and goes, I guess I remind her of somebody extremely cool and handsome, right? And you're like, wait, what?
God.
Right? Like, he starts associating himself with Gus to like make a connection that you shouldn't, because if you even, I don't know, saw a picture of Gus and placed it next to him, you're like, oh, well, we're done here.
Yeah.
You know? But that's what he does for no reason. Like, it doesn't make any sense, right?
So then Shelley Long husband
Randy
come
Quaid
home,
shows up, but not Randy Quaid.
and he's like walking in the door like, Gus, where are you, Gus? And then like he sees him in there and he's like, oh,
there you are, Gus.
Gus.
He says, there you are, Gus, right?
Yeah.
And
tries to play it as like, Gus, what I saw a cool motorcycle. You would never have guessed it. Like trying to play off the word Gus as guest.
Yeah.
And
which I guess works when your daughter's saying uncal.
Yeah.
Like, but still, I don't know. It's so stupid because Emily's so stupid.
Yeah.
I think that's what pisses me off about this scene is that like they're all clearly just botching this entire ruse.
Yeah.
Right? And Emily, instead of going for like, hey, why did you call him Gus? You know, or any of those kind of things, instead questions stupid things like, how did you know he was a foreigner?
Yeah.
You know?
When he like introduced himself as
He literally said, there you are,
Lobo.
Gus. Right?
Like, just that was what really made me mad about this. So he introduces himself. He's like, "Oh, I'm Lobo Marengo." Like, you can obviously tell he's not from there.
Lobo's here.
And then he's like, "Oh, cool. So like, you're from somewhere else. That's neat." And she's like, "How did you know he was an American?"
Well, he hadn't spoken yet.
Lobo introduced himself.
No, she introduced him as Lobo.
Okay, well
And
then I would
that's-
still be like,
Right.
sorry, with the name of Lobo, I just thought you weren't American.
Right.
Is like all he had to say. Instead, he's like, for like 30
Right.
seconds.
And then-
Lobo's pointing at a shirt that says New Zealand.
Conveniently says New
Yeah.
Zealand.
But then he's
right?
like, his smell, his body odor.
Because, okay, so Gus, in order to help him with an answer that would explain why he jumped to the conclusion he's a foreigner, right?
Yeah.
Which, also, I have a question. Did the husband know of the ruse?
He, I think, did, but didn't realize.
Because that's why he jumped to, like, oh, it's nice to have a foreigner here.
Yeah.
Right? So he had to have known, right? So, Gus is pointing at the New Zealand words and the little kiwi bird that's on his, the breast of his shirt, right? But it looks like he's pointing to his armpit. So the husband, in pure bumbling fashion, is like, oh, because of the body odor, because of, like, he's pointing to his armpit, right? And people were just like, okay.
Yeah.
And that's it, right? The scene ends. We flash over to he's dropping off, not Lizzie, Emily, and he won't make out with her and
This is
drives
when
away.
she's like, gay, diseased, married.
Right.
What is it?
So, meanwhile, this has happened. There's two parts. Like, Lizzie is obsessed with trying to hang this fish on the wall.
Yeah.
Throughout the rest of this movie, like, I don't understand why. Right? There's two scenes. One, she's trying to like put it up on a stairwell somewhere.
Trout.
It's a trout, right? Just like the bad
character's
guy,
name
right?
is Trout. Yeah.
But she also tries to do it later when like the final climax, right? But we flash over to Emily, and she's having Gus has told Lizzie, I can't take it anymore. I need to tell her what's up. So Gus is racing over to tell Emily what's up. Meanwhile, Emily and Trout are having a conversation where she has clearly fallen for Lobo and is like, I'm ending it with Trout, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Trout is like begging for her not to.
Lobo's in the bushes.
Right? And Trout's girl that he's cheating on is in the back seat of his convertible.
Yeah.
Right? And we have this like kind of thing where Trout looks out the window to check on the girl, and the girl is standing up like trying to be like, what's up, what's taking so long? And Gus as Lobo is in the bushes and thinks he sees him, so like there's this little, but that's the thing is like these kind of comedic points, or like bullet points, never play out to any type of like that was great, you know, they just kind of fade off into nothing. And that's a big problem with this film for me, is that like it just kind of wades in its own existence instead of ever getting to a point of anything makes any sense or anything's over the top enough for it to be funny.
Yeah.
Right? So she dismisses Trout, and that's the last we see of him, right? And then Gus as Lobo comes to the door, and he's dropped the accent, and he's like, I gotta tell you something. And she is so enthralled in...
She's like, you need to marry me so you can be a legal U.S. citizen. And he's like, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. And he's like, or she's like, oh, you dropped your accent. That's a really good American accent, so you can pass as American. This is fantastic.
Well, no, that's the morning. In this moment, she goes, I don't care what you have to say. I know we only have one night, because I don't remember him saying that there's a timeline or a deadline going on here, but she assumes that there is, right?
Yeah.
She's like, if this is the only night that we have, then I want to make it special. Just tell me, are you gay? Are you diseased? And he's like, no. And she's like, I don't care if you're married. Let's just do this, right? So immediately he swoops her up in her arms, very romantic novel cover style, and they go to bed, right? Wakes up the next morning, and she's in his arms, and he's like, I finally need to tell you what's up, right? And this is where she's like, oh, you've dropped the accent. Well, that's cool. You can pull off a really nice American accent. That's awesome, because we're going to get you the green card, and we're going to get married and stuff like that. And he's like, no, bitch, listen, right? Like, he finally, it's just like, I can't do this anymore.
And this is when he's in tiny green shorts with the half
this is
boner.
Right? They're like tennis shorts, like tight tennis shorts, right?
But he's wearing them as like underwear.
Right? Still got the mullet going on. And he's like, no, I'm not Lobo. Like, I'm Gus, whatever his last name is, and Kubitschek, right? Kubitschek. And she's like, what? And like immediately flips out. She's like, get dressed, get out of here, right? He's trying to do that very romantic comedy trope of being like, I didn't know who I was before I met you, and I love you so much, and like it was love before first eyes, and please just like, no, don't kick me out. And it's like so desperately like eye rolling, but it's not even a good romantic speech.
No.
You know, because
it's just
it should have been like
to cover his own ass.
Yeah, it should have been this like I had lost the will to live. Like, I was drawing depression hanging cartoons, like stuff like that.
I
like,
legit thought I was gonna kill myself.
I thought I was gonna die, and then I thought I was gonna die because I was gonna kill myself. And you came into my life, and you gave me a want to live. That would have been more meaningful, right? To say that, and she's listening at the other end of the door, something like that. But it doesn't happen. It's more of this like, oh, please, I totally slept with you last night, and like I totally did the wrong thing, and I know, and I might go to jail for this, and I like. and it's just stupid, and like walks away, right? So then Emily,
she's going to call and confront Lizzie, but
for her part in this, right?
But so Annabelle picks up the phone and just leaves the phone off the receiver.
Yeah, because Gus sold Lizzie out at the same time, being like, and it was my sister's phone, it was her idea, and it was just like, you are a chicken shit of a man. Like, even in this moment, you could have like been the bigger man and really came out on top here. Yeah. And honestly, how this movie plays out, he doesn't deserve this ending.
No. So then she can't get a hold of Lizzie via phone, so she drives over there and she barges in. Lizzie's trying to still hang up a fish on the wall. She's like, you shouldn't have done that. You're a terrible person. Stop meddling in lives. And Lizzie's like...
Love this part, by the way.
Yeah, I did it. Lizzie's like, I don't really care, though.
Love this part because Lizzie is basically writing her own ending to their love story.
Yeah.
By throwing her this, like, very obvious to us, like this, like... and then he's going to get on a plane. He decided that he's going to get on a plane and just leave it all. And he left Annabelle, like, savings that she can't touch until after high school.
Yeah.
And when he gets on that plane at 5 o'clock, when he leaves his home at something drive. And then she goes, 909 Kelaboo Drive. Right, and you're just like, and it's like very winking to the audience. One of my favorite moments of this, right? Because she's literally writing the "go get him" ending to her real life love story that she has crafted. Right, her meddling never stops. Right, but she falls for it like hook, line, and sinker. She takes the bait and immediately has a change of heart as to like. But they never even have a speech of being like, you know what, he really loved you. Like, there is no...
Yeah.
There's nothing that convinces her that she didn't
She just kind of figures it out along the way, like, oh, I did like him.
Right. There's nothing that says, like, you... God, I wish we could reference the movie that this is, there's a better version of, because there is movies, say, White Chicks we reference, right? Where it's like... They were interacting with her as both people at different times. And that once she realizes that they're the same person, she realizes that she was having a good time.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
I guess.
They didn't have the Mrs. Doubtfire scene where they have to be both person at once in different places.
Oh, like
the dinner scene.
Yeah, where he has to, he's talking in his own voice or any. Yeah, they don't have anything like that, or just being like, there's never a, I'm going out with Lobo, but tonight I'm just being friends with Gus.
Yeah.
There's never anything like that to give her an establishment that like, oh, I liked Gus as a person too.
Yeah.
Right? So there's this whole, but there's also just not a speech of him saying, I loved you, or, more than what we got in that one little get out scene.
Yeah.
There was never a you complete me moment or anything. In this,
but there was also never like a full realization that she had that was like, oh, I did love him for who he was. She was just kind of like,
oh, absolutely,
Dick 2 bomb, gotta go back to it. She charges to his place. Of course, he's not there.
But he left his motorcycle behind,
and her car is having trouble starting. So she's like, I can drive a motorcycle. Mm-hmm. And then of course they like throw in.
But she can, like decently for a first timer.
But then they throw in like a small little throwaway scene where a motorcyclist is like, oh, lady,
you can really nice hog. You can handle that hog between your legs.
Yeah,
and that
like,
kind of thing.
Okay, thanks,
right?
And drives away. And then of course she gets to the airport, and there's like that scene where she, Jesus,
right?
and
because
she's
there's
like,
a giant line in front that she skipped the line to ask this question.
Yeah, she
Rude.
skipped the bus.
No, Gus was in that line. She immediately from the entrance just went right. Has the fight now, right? So she grabs a pamphlet. And then is like, you know what? I just got tricked for a couple days. I'm going to trick him, too. Right? And drops a pamphlet at his feet. And is like, oh, weird. What are you doing here? And it's like, why? Why are you doing this? Why are you going through this ruse of being like, oh,
he obviously
fancy
wanted
meeting you here?
Jeez.
Like, why are you going to do that? Meanwhile, Gus has gone full Guttenberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? He's the Gutenberg
he
we all
looks so
know from
good.
Cocoon and everything at this point, right? He's gone full dad.
Mm.
And so, because he's cut off his mullet and he's just in a regular polo, and it's like, oh, yeah, there's the guy we know.
Yeah.
Right? And they have a lackluster, forgettable kind of conversation about being like,
Ugh.
I liked you, and like, but it doesn't, I can't remember it. I don't know exactly if it was powerful. I know it wasn't powerful.
The only thing I remember from it is someone being like, the line moved forward.
Yeah, right?
And they go forward, and then she's like, buy me a ticket to, or she's like, I'm going to New York too. And he's like,
no, he invites her to New York.
no,
yeah.
They get up to the counter.
Yes.
Listen.
Okay.
I was like, and she's like, another ticket to New York. And he's like, why are you getting a ticket to New York? I'm going to a wedding somewhere else. And she's like, oh.
Damn it, Lizzie.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because basically Lizzie lied to her.
But also, we're not dropped lines about him going to some wedding at all. It's literally just a random trip that he's going on that we weren't aware of.
Yeah, to Catman Zoo.
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, one more to Catman Zoo. So now he's taking a +1 to a wedding that I'm not quite sure if she's allowed to be. Right? And they start kissing.
My hair, I don't have a good dress for it.
Right, because she got mud splashed in her face. Like, it doesn't matter.
She ripped her dress.
Yeah, where it's like, if that's your biggest problems, like, you clearly haven't been paying attention to the sexual predator who has, like, basically duped you through this whole movie.
I know.
But they make out in the terminal, and then the camera turns into binoculars, and Lizzie has been watching the whole interaction via these gigantic binoculars.
Yeah.
And then
she's like, way to go, Gus.
Yeah. Yay, I did it.
I love her
like,
positive attitude.
Yeah. No, it's so much fun. I'm glad that it ended with her.
Yeah.
Right? But little Annabelle is in the back, and she says uncle, but she also repeats what her mom says of being like Aunt Emily, right? And she's like, you spoke, yay. And she still won't say mama or dada. And then she hears a plane take off, and immediately 30 seconds later assumes that that's their plane.
Yeah, she's like, there they go.
I don't know how planes work, but that's not it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's the end of the movie. W's?
I would watch it if I was having like
This is another cable movie for me.
Like
That's
an 80s or 90s party.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a nice like background noise just so I could hear someone say, oh, is that? No, that's not.
If you're a fan of Shelley Long.
Is that Michael?
Yeah.
Like,
if you're a fan of Shelley Long, this has got to be, in my opinion, one of her top 5 roles.
Yeah. Oh, it's a good Shelley Long.
It's great for Shelley Long. A lot of people would reference like Hello Again. Definitely Money Pit.
Yeah.
You ever seen Money Pit? Then, like, absolutely. That might be my favorite of hers. And I watched Night Shift, where she plays the love interest, but she's also a prostitute for Henry Winkler.
Sex worker.
Yeah, and absolutely hilarious Michael Keaton, early Michael Keaton, comedy Keaton. So definitely check those out before you check this one out. But this is definitely where everybody else is giving subpar, like, lackluster performances. She's killing it.
Yeah.
You know, and I wish actually that this was a better script and a better movie, and maybe even better 2 other lead actors to complement Shelley Long.
I don't know. Guttenberg was real sexy.
Oh, Jesus.
He's so good looking.
Yeah.
In this movie.
I
don't
think he was sympathetic enough.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
He didn't do the character right, but he
the writer didn't do, or the director didn't do the character justice enough to give him a sympathetic speech by the end. And that, I think that's where this falls flat. That and the awkward comedic moments were too awkward, not funny enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
So my W's would be, this is for, hey, it's on demand. Like, and I haven't seen it, and I've seen everything else that Shelley's done. That's what it's for. But there's way better rom-coms out there. So I have only one 5-star review that I could find, right? This is a doozy, though. Are you ready? This one lives in a world that basically assumes that everything is very hipster excellent. So these are going to be some big words, so I immediately apologize if I flub it, because I tried to read them in character as well. So sometimes I'll skip over some words. Yeah. So this is from Lily Bingos. This was dated August 15th of 2003. Another engrossing and insightful piece of filmmaking from Malcolm Mowbray, providing once and for all that his name deserves to be mentioned in the same breath as Truffaut and Goddard and Charbroil, which I assume they're directors. However, it's not for Mowbray's talents that this film will be remembered always. In Don't Tell Her, we at last find a stage upon which Steve Guttenberg's talent may shine, and shine alone.
No.
Guttenberg essays the role of Gus Kubitschek, recovering from a recent illness which has forced him to confront the truth of his own mortality. In a touching scene, clearly reminiscent of the closing moments of Nagasa's A No Koroda, Kubitschek's sister, Shelley Long, pledges to support him in the quest to recover a semblance of his sense of self. What follows is a poignant and moving account of one man's struggle to pretend to be a biker from New Zealand. Surprising, shocking, and at times brutally honest, it is only by virtue of Guttenberg's sheer, uncompromising talent that the film remains as fluid and engaging as it is. He gives a breathtaking performance. The unique the unique subtlety of his acting, almost imperceptible as he deftly switches between the persona of the overweight cartoonist and the biker from New Zealand, unencumbered by having to share the screen with this clumsier talents of Selleck or Danson. They're doing a 3 Men and a Little Lady reference there. Guttenberg turns Don't Tell Her into a stunning and exhilarating tour de force, elevating the film to a superb example of highly original postmodern cinema verite.
What movie did they watch? Because I don't remember that.
They were watching Cocoon.
Yeah.
Tower of Terror, that's what it was.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the only most of the 5-star reviews were just like, loved it, don't understand why they changed it from Boyfriend School to or it was a lot of that. So I have two pieces of what's it called, trivia. So the author in 2012, Sarah Bird, went on record of saying that the film's source novel, The Boyfriend School, she did this interview in Texas Monthly Magazine, which I don't know, that's just as good as Trump Magazine, I guess. But, quote, my exceedingly mediocre screenplay was made into an exceedingly mediocre movie.
Oh.
Well played, Sarah Bird.
Yeah.
And then Mystery Science Theater 3000 mentioned this movie not once but twice on their show. So, it got some play afterwards. Yeah. The episodes City Limits and Alien from L.A. Oh. One from 92, another one from 93. Yeah. So, yeah, they make references to that. You have any alternate titles for this film? I got one.
I can't think of anything. I really can't.
I'd say Don't Tell Her It's Rape. Also, I don't know, maybe
Lobo a Go-Go.
You wish he was a go-go dancer. Yeah. Fooled you once, shame on you. Fooled you twice, shame on you.
Yeah.
Don't tell her this isn't a New Zealand accent.
Don't tell her looks matter.
Yeah. Yep. Don't tell her I got over Hodgkinson's because that would have helped. Yeah, don't tell her I'm Casper.
Yeah. Oh.
Like, yeah, that's about it. I don't have too many alternate titles. Plus, I've just sprung this whole alternate title bit on you. So for the next month, we'll actually have some ones written, right? I only had don't tell her it's not rape. So that just about does it for us here at Bombs Away. We have an amazing month coming up for the month of March, including our St. Paddy's Day episode of the very first Leprechaun movie, which hopefully we're on air a couple St. Paddy's from now, and we'll get up to Leprechaun in the Hood eventually. That's going to be great.
All the cons.
I know, right? So, like, that'll be the only themed out thing for March. The other three we'll go kind of random and see what happens. Be sure to stay in the know by following us Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Bombs Away Show. You can also write to us what you thought about this movie. It's one of maybe your favorite guilty pleasures from back in the day, or there's something we missed. Write to us, contact at bombsawayshow.com. Please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. And then, I don't know, do you have anything to promote? Anything going on?
No. I'm still alive, so that's pretty good.
Oh,
Promoting
yeah,
that.
yeah, right? I mean,
Woo, not dead.
Please don't start drawing Ziggy cartoons on me.
Right?
So, for Bombs Away, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a listener. We really appreciate it. Please share these episodes. Share your favorite one. Let us know if there's something that you want us to do that we haven't touched on yet. We'd love to hear from you, and we will shout you out. So for Bombs Away, my name is Jonathan.
I'm Jarrett.
And don't you have anything with a little whiskey in it? A tall glass, if you will.
Hey, this is Jarrett with the Bombs Away podcast, and we are here in the Frida Cinema recording our podcast. So the Frida Cinema is a program of the Long Beach Cinematique, and it's located here in Santa Ana in Southern California. It serves the neighboring communities, and it is a non-profit art house cinema dedicated to enriching, connecting, and educating communities through the art of cinema. It's here to entertain, and that's why the entertainment industry exists. So what they show on these screens is pretty amazing. They have things such as the Director's Series, and it features directors such as Martin Scorsese, Mel Brooks, and Lloyd Kaufman. Lloyd Kaufman, if you didn't know, did The Toxic Avengers and The Class of Nukem High. They also have something called Friday Night Freakouts, and this is presented by OC Weekly. It has films that are among the horror or sci-fi kind of genre. They've done films such as Lost Boys, Hackers, and The Room. They've also featured anime like Your Name and Akira. Some other things they do are double features. They've done things such as Hot Fuzz mixed with Shaun of the Dead, which is actually two pretty good films. They also show a lot of cool things among the lines of indie films. They have The Void, which is currently on Netflix, and they also have had Academy Award-winning films such as Best Film winner Moonlight, which I think is pretty awesome that it showed in this space before it actually went up. If you want more information about showtimes, location, and everything film and entertainment related to the Frida Cinema, you can go to www.thefridacinema.org. You can also follow on Facebook at facebook.com/thefridacinema and on Instagram and Twitter at The Frida Cinema. The Frida Cinema, for filmmakers, for film goers, and for you.
This has been a production of Big Bulb Entertainment, executive produced by Jonathan Young. For more media and information, visit us at www.bigbulbentertainment.com. Big Bulb, what's your bright idea?